flight delivered by Southwest Airlines. We take a look at midway through the season. It's time to keep an eye on the Eastern Conference standings. Right now, the Heat are in a tight race for the 6th spot with the Heat, Hawks, and Knicks all within a game of each other. The Hawks had their 5-game win streak end last night, right, Emmy?
Yeah, interestingly, the Heat had not played the Knicks yet this year, but this will change on February 2nd in New York, followed by 3 more matchups in March.
It is definitely good, Ann, that the Heat are finally getting healthy as they head into a pivotal stretch this season.
Definitely. Back to Eric and John.
Thank you, Emmy. Thank you, Kristen. Good to see Kristen back with us and her lovely youngest daughter, Emmy. Heat need to get something going on the offensive end. It has been a rocky start. 1 for 6 with 4 turnovers. A hero splash helps. That's Tyler's first score. He averages 21 a game. Now the Heat need a jump start after a slow start here this afternoon.
Got to dig in on this end. The defensive end here really prevents some of these easier shots that New Orleans get. Much better effort here on the ball with Bam on C.J. McCollum.
Pelicans have made 5 straight shots. They're 7 for their first 9. And McCollum misses a contested 3. Martin made an effort, but look what happens. Turns into an easy slam dunk for slender Trey Murphy, the second-year forward out of the University of Virginia.
You've got to complete those defensive possessions, and that means coming up with defensive rebounds. Multiple efforts is what we hear Coach Bolster say constantly on the defensive end. He made 1, 2, 3 efforts there. They didn't make the third to come up with that rebound.
Victor Oladipo and Orlando Robinson both check in for the Heat. First couple of changes. Sitting down Caleb Martin and Bam Adebayo. Jackson Hayes is in for the Pelicans, the 7-footer in his 4th year out of Texas. Lowry snaps one in the bucket. Halfway through the first quarter, the Heat trailing by 10. First of 3 in a row at home for Miami after losing 2 of 3 on their recent road trip. Lowry, corner 3, kaboom. Much needed. Lowry, the 4th Heat starter to get in the scorebook. He does it with his 81st triple of the season and the Heat's first 3-pointer of the game.
That was important, because they doubled Jimmy there, and he read it perfectly. Reversed the basketball all the way to the corner for the 3.
Lowry with a pick and a trip to the free throw line on the foul from Trey Murphy. And, John, that is what's been missing for the Heat. They've had 12 points or less off turnovers in 4 of the last 5 games. That's a big part of how the Heat generate offense. This is so important.
It is, and Kyle Lowry able to shoot the gap here, come up with the steal, and draw the foul. You mentioned it. I mean, when they were really clicking on all cylinders, particularly you look back against the Pelicans on Wednesday, they forced 18 turnovers, scored 24 points off those turnovers. And those 24 points came usually in transition or high percentage shots. This gets Lowry to the free throw line here. Allows the Heat to manufacture some points and then get back and set their defense.
That's 40-year-old Willie Green in his 2nd year as the head coach of the Pelicans. A very inspirational coach, a guy who played in the league, an assistant coach with Golden State for 2 championships, former assistant for Monty Williams in Phoenix. So he's had great mentors in Monty Williams and Steve Kerr. And, John, when we asked him how the Pelicans were playing so well without their 2 best players, Willie said earlier this week, a lot of prayer, a lot of prayer. Meanwhile, it's a 5-point Pelicans lead, a double team on Devontae Graham. He gets it off to McCollum. Under duress, he scores. That's a cool veteran who just found his way to the rim.
He, to me, is one of those guys who may be one of the best players in the league to never be in an all-star game. Gorgeous hesitation move, gets to his offhand, his left hand there for the layup.
Pelicans have made 9 of their first 12 shots. And you talk about the poise of a veteran, not dismayed over some initial good Heat defense.
Yeah, really impressive the way he read the defense. Didn't settle for an outside shot and able to get all the way to the rim. Over the last 8 games, C.J. McCollum with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson out has averaged 27 points a game.
Already has 7 this afternoon. Hero gets bumped and fouled by Larry Nance Jr. That's his first. It's the 4th team foul on the Pelicans. I mentioned New Orleans 4th in the West. They're 7 games behind the Nuggets, 5.5 behind Memphis, and a half game behind Sacramento, and they still have 3 games left against the Kings. So Willie Green's group trying to get healthy and try to hold on to a top 4 spot in the West. That guarantees you home court in the first round of the play.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what they've been able to do, and you referenced it. I mean, they've had Brandon Ingram out. He's only played 15 games this season. He's had an injured toe. He's been out almost 2 months as a result of that. And Zion Williamson, who is so talented but just has not been able to stay healthy, has missed a bulk of the games as of late, too. So just really, when you think about their offense, those are 2 all-star caliber guys that have been out for significant time.
Zion Williamson missing his 10th straight game. Looks good in that Chargers jersey. Would look better in a Pelicans uniform. He's only played twice in his career against Miami. Last time coming Christmas Day in 2020. 4.5 left, first quarter. Nance Jr. for Jackson Hayes. And they are finding vulnerable areas in that Heat defense. The Pelicans 10 for their first 13 on the offensive end. They've outscored the Heat in the paint 16-4. Victor, pocket pass picked off. McCollum with a steal. It was the Heat's 5th turnover, and look at what it's turning into. A jam and a foul. Trey Murphy, the 3rd.